Welcome back to LabCyber. Now, before I talk about today's story, I need to admit something, okay? Without the bad guys, okay, without cyber criminals, cybersecurity would be boring. In fact, cybersecurity might not even exist because we do need to have bad guys in order to have security, right? Now, the interesting thing about the bad guys, about the cyber criminals, is that they're always coming up with new ways to conduct their attacks, okay? And today's story, I'm talking about this report from a company called Quest. They conducted a research where they found out that LinkedIn has now become one of the top platforms, social media platforms, for cyber attackers to carry out their phishing campaigns. So they break everything down here in this pretty interesting research. And over here, the section under the anatomy of an attack, they say that in this section, we dive into the mechanics of a phishing campaign conducted through the social media platform LinkedIn. Now, attackers targeted high-value individuals with precision, then used trusted open source tools to bypass detection and achieve persistent access. They also say that in this particular campaign, attackers abused LinkedIn's professional context to establish trust and familiarity, increasing their chances of success by targeting high-value individuals in corporate environments. So, down in here, they go in full detail, the technical process, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to simplify everything for you. So basically, in this campaign, step one, what the attackers typically do is that they'll conduct reconnaissance and social engineering. Basically, they'll pick out their internet targets, find out as much as they can about those targets, and then initiate the first conversation. You know, they might say things like, oh, hello, my name is Bob Jones from ABC Incorporated, and we're looking to hire a new technical analyst or a new technical executive for this new position, and we think you will be an ideal candidate, blah, 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 blah. So the whole point here is to try to get you to respond to them. And because many people on LinkedIn, their accounts have a lot of information, their employment history, their skills, things like that. So it makes it very, very easy for these attackers to create specially crafted phishing messages intended to trigger some sort of a response from the victim. Now, keep in mind that the high value targets don't necessarily have to be top level executives in a company. It could be a regular employee. Keep in mind that some of the biggest attacks, all the attackers needed were just the login credentials of a regular employee. They don't need the login credentials of the top level executives. Obviously, if they can get those, then the better. But in many, many cases, they don't even have to go after the top executives in the company. Sometimes the login credentials of a regular employee is all they need. So if you have a LinkedIn account, you're working for an organization or a company, and you're not yet a top level executive, keep in mind you could also be a target here. So once they've established the contact, the conversation with the victim, they will try to build trust and familiarity. So they'll try to extend this conversation for several days, maybe even weeks. And once they feel like they've gained the absolute trust of the victim, they will then send them some sort of a zipped file, okay, an archive. Obviously, this could be anything from like a business proposal or the employment details, things like that. So the whole idea here is to get the victim to obviously download and then extract the files from that zipped archive. And then once that happens, the malware will be delivered. And once the malware is installed on the victim's computer, the attackers could do so many things. They could exfiltrate data, they could increase their privileges, lots of things. So that's basically the entire process. It's just basically attackers now using LinkedIn as a means to conduct their phishing campaigns. And the report here goes further down to talk about why social media platforms have become like the favorite attack surface for these attackers, because they're exploiting user trust. Think about it, okay? When somebody reaches out to you on LinkedIn, subconsciously, there is this sort of sense of trust, like, oh, if this person is talking to me on LinkedIn, then they must be serious and they must be legitimate, right? If it's through email, we're already so used to people sending phishing links via email, so we already have that sort of inbuilt trust. But when it's on LinkedIn, all of a sudden it's like, wow, because LinkedIn is supposed to be like, the most corporate, serious platform and all that, So When somebody messages you on LinkedIn, subconsciously you start thinking, oh, this must be a real person, right? And then, of course, bypassing traditional email security. These platforms like LinkedIn, they don't have built-in scanners that can automatically scan for malware on attachments, files, things like that. Regular email platforms, they do have those. So, but social media platforms don't. And of course, targeting high-value targets with precision is another reason why LinkedIn in particular has become a top social media platform for attackers, because again, on LinkedIn, their victims, their proposed victims will have all the information, their employment records, their skills, things like that. So it makes it very, very, very easy for these attackers to send messages that can trigger some sort of a response, usually curiosity or interest from their victims. So to prevent ourselves from becoming victims to this particular kind of campaign, first of all, you need to treat social media as a primary attack surface, all right? I don't know why, but still so many people don't recognize the dangers involved with social media. Email campaigns, email phishing links and all that, that's old school. Now, you have a lot of these attackers using social media to attack the victim. So please treat social media as a primary attack surface. And then don't accept any sort of zipped files from anybody, okay? Unless you are 100% sure that this person is real and that the files in that zipped archive are not going to be malicious. And then also do your own reconnaissance, okay? Especially on LinkedIn. If you have somebody, trying to have a conversation with you, take a look at their own accounts, okay? When was the account created? Are they active on LinkedIn? Look at their employment history. Basically, you try to find out whether or not this account is actually a real account and it's not just some account that was created 2 weeks ago. And then, of course, the biggest security weapon that we have is our mindset, okay? Always have this security consciousness, okay? Always be very, very careful before you download files, before you install any kind of software. I always like to compare downloading and installing files on my computer to what it is that I actually eat, okay? I am very, very conservative with what I eat, okay? I'm not one of those adventurous foodies, right? Before I eat something, it has to be something that I believe, okay, this isn't going to give me issues, because once I swallow that food, that's it, okay? I need to be extremely careful. So the same logic applies to downloading and installing files on your computer. Before you do so, make sure that they're actually legitimate files and they are not malicious. So that's it for today's video. Just wanted to talk very, very briefly about this phishing campaign that attackers are now conducting through the LinkedIn social media platform. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Put your comments down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. If you're new here to the channel, welcome to LabCyber. My name is Alex. I cover content around cybersecurity and AI. So if you do enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.